What's up, guys? I'm Carla. If you're watching this, then you probably found me through Instagram or TikTok, so you already know who I am and what I do. But if you're seeing this for the first time, I'm a mom and a personal trainer, and I just like to make fitness easy. I believe that everybody can eat healthy and exercise, and that it's not as complicated as the internet makes it out to be. Today, I'm going to go through my entire postpartum fitness journey with pictures, and I have it all documented right here. So we're gonna get right into it. Okay, so let's get some context real quick. Before I had Mia, I was already working out and I was at about 120 to 125. Found out I was pregnant and I was on a mission to have a active pregnancy. The first probably 3 months, I did get morning sickness like a mother. And it wasn't just in the morning, it was all day. So it was hard for me to do much of anything within those first 3 months. And also I got ravenously hungry. I mean, I was literally eating everything: ramen, chips, spicy things, Lenny and Lyra's cookie. I was sometimes eating 2 in a day, and I knew that I shouldn't be doing that, but quite frankly, I just didn't give a fuck. Jumped from 120, I'm gonna say 120, to about 135 within that first trimester, and I started to freak out. I was like, hold on, I only wanted to gain a total of like 25 pounds throughout this entire thing. And mind you, baby's size of a pea at this point. So I'm like, this is all me. She hasn't even grown yet. So I was like, okay, at this point I'm on track to gain like 45 pounds if I don't chill out. And I'll talk about this later, but I ended up gaining around 40 pounds anyways, with being mindful from the first trimester on about my exercise and my diet. So I don't know how much I would have gained if I just completely didn't care and didn't pay attention at all to my diet or exercise for the entire 9 months. So that is like the pregnancy journey. First 3 months, gained 15 pounds, wasn't active, eating everything. Okay, fast forward to the second and third trimester, I start doing walks a lot. I was probably walking every single day, and I was lifting very light weights all the way up until the very end of my pregnancy. And I was being mindful about my diet. My fiance helped me out. He started making me smoothies. He would make me breakfast. It was awesome. Fast forward to 40 weeks. I am probably past 160. I weighed 160 at my last doctor's appointment, and I was just like, throw away the scale. At one point, I literally thought the scale was broken. Looking back, I should have had a little bit more grace with myself. It's normal. I was growing a baby, and she was very big, and she turned out to be a very hungry baby. So I understand why my body was like, eat all the food, because if I was just breastfeeding, Mia would have sucked me dry. I had Mia. Within like 3 days, we're home, and then probably for the first week, I was just trying to figure out what the heck is going on, getting used to taking care of a newborn, obviously not sleeping, not worried about anything else, looking a hot mess. After probably a week, I was like, okay, I need to get some sunshine and fresh air. It'll probably be good for Mia to get some too, so I'm gonna start walking. And I felt okay to walk. I would just go for like really light walks, 20 to like maximum 40 minutes, probably every day, because I was home all day with Mia. So that was a twofer. I was getting exercise, and it was just good for my mental health and for me also. At that point, I was living with my mom, thank God, and I wasn't the one cooking really, and I was just kind of eating whatever my mom and my stepdad were making for dinner. And I would try my best to just serve myself like a large portion of meat and vegetables and keep whatever carb that it was that they made to a very small portion on the plate. I was drinking smoothies and like eating some fruits and trying not to have really like any junk food in the house. That was the extent of my diet for those first 8 weeks. And also whenever we were going out, I wasn't eating like, French fries and wings and stuff. But other than that, I wasn't tracking, I wasn't following a specific diet, I wasn't completely restricting myself from desserts and certain foods that I like, but I was definitely keeping them at bay. Okay, this is the point where I add some pictures. I'm going to add what I look like just a few days after birth, and then what I look like 2 months postpartum. So I lost about 20 pounds. I went from around 160 to about 140, and I was like, okay, cool. If I don't try any harder from here on out, this is how my body's gonna look. And I wanted more. I still did not feel like myself, and I knew that I could do more if I pushed myself, because this was just from birth and, you know, breastfeeding a little bit. It's not like I was burning a ton of calories from breastfeeding. Now we are at mid-September. I'm 8 weeks postpartum, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go back to the gym and start lifting very light. So 2 months later, when I got back into the gym, I don't know what I thought I was going to be able to do, but it was much less than that. I had to start out very light, and there were still obviously a lot of movements that were uncomfortable for me. So anything that hurt, I would just avoid. And I would start out very light and mostly do like upper body stuff, walking, maybe a little bit of like the elliptical and stuff like that. What occurred to me was, okay, I still can't go super heavy. I can't be out here running, doing sprints and stuff. I like to train hard. And so, and still not being able to do that after, at this point, the entire pregnancy and then 2 months after that was a little bit frustrating. But I was like, you know what? The one thing I can control right now is my diet. So at this point, I started having more structure, trying to have like 3 meals a day, more veggies, more fruits, being more intentional with my grocery shopping, cooking more, and tracking. And I wasn't tracking every single day, every single thing to a T. I wasn't weighing my food, but I was tracking most days, and I was especially keeping an eye on my protein and my sugar, because I am a sweets fanatic, and that was one thing that I knew I kind of had to keep an eye on if I was serious about losing these last 20 pounds. Doing that for another 2 months, so from September to November, I lost about 15 pounds, and I was so happy. At this point, I was like, she back, baby. Like, I was feeling myself. I had a trip in February in Vegas, and I knew that I wanted to be in a swimsuit and feeling good. So I was like, okay, we're making good progress so far. At this point, it's still 3 months until February. We're gonna keep on going. Mid-November is when I felt mostly normal, and like I could focus more on my training, pick a few exercises, and start applying progressive overload and increasing those weights over time. I designed my program, and I did the same workouts for months. At this point, I was also tracking on and off still and doing like 80-20. I would go out to eat like maybe once or twice a week, and I would enjoy like ramen or whatever, and then the rest of the time at home I was eating pretty healthy. I did that from November to July. In February, when my trip came around, I didn't feel like I had as much muscle as I wanted, but I put on my bikini and I showed up and I danced and I had fun and I felt good. When I came back from my trip, I kept up the same thing, slowly increasing my weights multiple times a week for months. But I got my strength up from 60 pounds to 215. All these workouts on Instagram that are like, new workout of the week. That's great if you just want to have fun. But if you actually want to build muscle, lose fat, and see the results that you know that you want, those workouts are not going to get you there. I mean, they might get you there for like the first 2 months, but you'll plateau and you're going to ask yourself why. I feel better than I did before I got pregnant. I'm stronger, and I honestly feel like I have more muscle and I look better. The funny thing is that once you get to a certain level in your physique, it's actually easier to maintain because you have a faster metabolism and you have more muscle mass. And as long as you're still hitting the gym, you can be a lot more flexible with your diet. I haven't been tracking for months. I have been indulging way more. Still getting 3 meals a day, still getting lots of protein, but my body looks the same as it does at the beginning of the summer, and my diet has not been on point. Honestly, that's the goal, to get to a point where you're working out a few times a week, you're moving, you feel good, you look good, you're getting a balanced diet, but you're not obsessing over everything that you eat and feeling very restricted because you feel like if you eat a donut one day, you're gonna gain it all back. That is the goal. That is where I'm at, and that is where I want you to be at. And I believe that that is where everybody can be at if you are willing to really commit. I'm talking put your blinders on, put your head down, and show up even when you don't fucking feel like it. And trust me, there were plenty of times where I sat in the car for 30 minutes because I was too tired or just didn't feel like going to the gym, and I forced myself to go anyways. If you can do that for a year or two, I promise it's worth it. I promise it's worth it. But you seriously have to be willing to make sacrifices and do the work and show up even when you don't feel like it. I promise it's worth it. That's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you have any questions, just leave me a comment.